Welcome back, folks. This is player 2. I hope you guys are enjoying. The last one was really good. So you can find the last one here, right in this card. You know, player 2, it's something quite new. This is the second edition, the second release of player 2. And the idea of player 2 is very simple. I want to bring here to you on the Gamer Changer the people who works behind the scenes, the people who works on developing new games, the people who works on bringing new content to you about games, the content creators, the developers. That's the place where we all gonna meet and talk about how things works on, like I mentioned, behind the scenes, right? But we're gonna do that in a very different way. We're gonna do that playing the games these people like, playing the games these people work with. And today we have a very nice friend of mine, someone that we are working together in the past year in some projects with Asus. He's known by the name of Rodrigo. It's a Brazilian guy just like me, so forgive our mistakes on English. And he's here, and he's known as Chips. So Chips, are you there?
Hey Marcel, I'm here.
Yeah.
Hey, how are you doing, everyone?
Very good to have you here, man.
Yeah.
Really glad
Thank you for having me here.
No, actually, it's a pleasure to have you here. I have to thank you for being here. One of the most important things to bring you here is to tell people how it is to develop games, how the games develop works. And you are from Brazil, but you know a lot of the market outside. So can you introduce yourself? Where do you work? What you are doing? What games are you working on?
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, I'm Chips. I work nowadays at Rockhead Games, Rockhead Studios. Actually, we just switched the name because now we are a studio because we make TV series and games, and not only games. We have a few games called Starlit Adventures, Starlit Archery Club, and Starlit On Wheels. And I'm in the game industry. It's been a while now. I entered the industry in 2007, and I started with a small game company here in Porto Alegre. Then I moved to São Paulo and went to US, went to Germany. So I have a good amount of companies that I work at, and a good amount of games that I did. A little bit under 100. So
100 games.
Yeah.
Only 100.
Yeah, so I know a little bit of everything because I started with 3D games on web, and now I'm releasing games on console. So I used to say that I saw a lot of things being invented, like smartphones and obviously now VR and all other different things. So this is pretty much what I've been doing for the last 10 plus years.
So now you are pretty much like working with Rockhead, right? That's your main job right now. And and the latest games you are working with is the Starlit series, right?
Yeah, the Starlit series is the main. I would say that it's the main franchise that we have, and the only one, because we used to have other games, but now we are not even working on them. We're just looking for Starlit to make it a bigger thing than it is already.
So how many games you have with the Starlit franchise?
We have, as I mentioned, we have 3 games. We have, it's complicated. That's the right answer. Because we have Starlit Adventures, Starlit On Wheels, and Starlit Archery Club. But we do have other sorts of Starlit Adventures. We have a Starlit Adventures on Apple TV, for example, that is called Starlit Adventures Golden Stars. These Golden Stars, it has a different names because it's a premium version. So if you go to Apple TV, you just download it, you just buy it, and you have everything unlocked and you can have fun. On mobile, you'll have the version that you can purchase things inside, so it's free to play, and you can purchase things inside the same way that is on PS4. And now we are about to release a version for Switch that is the premium version. So it's again Starlit Adventures Golden Stars. It's a little bit different. You notice that for someone that really liked games, it looks like the same game, but they are all different. If you play Starlit Adventures, for example, on mobile, you don't have a lot of things like jumping and stacking. You can't play multiplayer, for example. And if you go on PS4, then you can jump and you can party. You can have four guys at the same time. So it's a completely different gameplay. Things start changing when you add more people and you add more mechanics inside the game. So that's why it's complicated.
That's something that people don't realize, right? Sometimes you say like, "Oh, we have only one franchise, which is Starlit," right? And Starlit, you say, "Okay, I can go to the Google Play Store and find like 3 games of Starlit," right? Like you mentioned, Starlit on Wheels, Starlit Adventures, Starlit the art stuff, right? And but actually, if you think on the other side, on the developer side, you have to have another version for Apple TV and another version for Nintendo Switch. And if you go for PlayStation, it's another version. So it's like having different teams working together for the same game, but it's not the same game exactly, right?
Exactly. Well, in Starlit Adventures is really fun regarding this, because I'll show you the whole picture. It starts with iOS and Android. So it's pretty much the same game. You have a little tweaks from one and the other, but mainly it's the same game. Then you go to Apple TV. Then it's a different beast because it's a premium game, so you need to unlock everything, and you have to have some sort of different evolution during the game. Then we have PS4. Then it gets back to we need to cut a lot of things. We can have mix of currencies, and because PS4 has a lot of things that they don't allow us to do. And then we have 2 more games. We have a Gameloft version for Verizon and for the European market that you can have it if you have a Verizon phone. And then we have
Europe, right?
Yeah, no, only for those that use Verizon on a specific
network.
deal network. And then we have the Buffalo Wings version that if you go to a Buffalo Wings restaurant, you can play inside. So it's a smaller version of the game. And we have the Apple version that you can play if you go to an Apple store. If you check the iPhone 7, 8, or 9, you'll have this built-in, which is a different version of the basics, because it's smaller too. You can play it from the 1st level to the 8th level, but it's a little bit different because you need to show things that you have on the full version. And then you have the premium version for Switch and the premium version for Xbox and the free-to-play version for Xbox. So this is pretty much the whole thing.
So
we are talking about...
How many people?
Believe it or not, we are a really small studio. So, but I believe that involved on the whole thing, we can count about 70 people that already put their hands on this project, because we have different companies that helped us on porting. So we have Webcore on this. Now we have Garage. So there's a lot of small things that we need to tweakle, especially when connecting the store with the game. So it's a mess. But someone needs to deal with that, and we need to release and all of that.
I guess someone is you, right?
Yeah, especially on console and these specific versions for the mobile inside a specific brand. This is the kind of deal that I do. So the rest was already done by the company before I get there.
I can imagine. So let's show a little bit what I have here, so then you can show Starlit on Wheels, right? This is the main focus gamer right now, right? You are working with.
Yeah, that we're working.
Okay, so guys, let me show you this. So what do we have here? You have me here in this screen, this small screen here, and on the other side, it's Rodrigo. And
hey,
what do you have right in the middle? It's my ROG phone on the desk. So this is like a desktop dock. And the desktop docks connect to a keyboard and mouse and additional screen that I'm also capturing the image and putting right in the middle. So the image you see right in the middle, I would say, you're going to see my finger now. I would say here, you see, that's an image. That's an image that I'm putting over. So you can see I'm using that image is captured from the device. So you're going to see that happen a lot of time. I will be playing and I will show in the game from the smartphone itself, right? So that's how it works. And one of the cool things, if I go and show you the game screen, right, where you can see the whole details. So that's the game screen. That's I'm capturing straight from the device itself, from the ROG phone. And we also can be in all cameras together, which I like very much. So you can see all together. You can see the image capture from the game over there with all details, and you can have us here on the sides, and you can see the device itself working here, right? So it's over there. So let's talk a little bit about Starlit On Wheels. I have it here on the computer. Probably you cannot see, but I have it here on the computer. And how the game works. What's the dynamics of the game? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Starlit On Wheels happened, as I mentioned, after 2 games. So first we did a platformer. That there's another brand that did a big platformer game that everybody knows all around the world. And this company also made a go-karting game. So we figured, well, if they
it's Mario Kart, it's Mario Kart. Don't hold it back.
If they did well with that, maybe we could. We can tackle a market that they will never be.
So it's inspired. It's inspired by Mario.
It's inspired by Mario in general. Okay. We are inspired by Nintendo in general, I would say. Rockhead is a company that looks a lot on what Nintendo does. The thing is that we thought that Mario Kart would never come to mobile. So we started working on this in 2017. And we just released this last year, 6 months before Mario Kart was released. And the other thing that, since in the middle of the process, we figured that Mario Kart was coming eventually. And then we figured, well, what they won't do on mobile. They won't create track editor, because this is something that they never do, and something that they wouldn't allow themselves to do, because it's a lot of work. So we did this work to have something different. So one of the cool things that we have,
track editor, you mean, right?
Yeah, we have a track editor at the very, not the very end of the options, the tabs that you have. You might have Discord and something else, and the very last tab. But you have the track editor that you can create your own track, and you pretty much you have an autocomplete of it if you want to have a circuit. But if you want to just drag something, add some ramps or some obstacles or anything like that in the middle and press play, you're already playing the game, because you're already in the environment ready to do this. So we created the whole game on top of this editor. Just make sure that everything was working properly and all, and then we give to the players, so the players can create new tracks and create the game in a way, because every track that you do goes to the hub. We have a main hub where you can try every track that you have
I
there.
Can see here, yeah.
We have.
I'm stuck on the number 2 because I just start to install it and check how it works. But okay, but so I can see pretty much.
Yeah, this part of the second tab, you have the championships, and those championships are based on the best tracks that people like on this hub. So you're playing pretty much, if you're not playing the story mode, you're playing something that someone that played the game did. And everybody's rewarded accordingly. For those that are creating tracks, for those that are playing the other one's tracks, evaluating the tracks. So it's a full circle of having fun, and this is what we were looking for here. And the other cool part is that you can you can have all the characters that you would have on Starlit Adventures. So you have Bow and Kick back. The main story of Starlit Adventures is back, like Nuru, which is the main evil character. Big Boss will steal the stars, and you have to run.
So there is a storyline, right? There is a bad guy, and this bad guy stole the stars, and you have to capture the stars back.
Exactly, and this works exactly the same way on Starlit Adventures and Starlit on Wheels. So it's something that we believe that it's always cool to have. It's nice to have something that you can relate and you know. Oh, I've seen this story, and this can. I know what's going on. I know who this character is. So, but now the main difference is that instead of playing only with Bo and Kiki, now you can play with all the bosses. And if you finish the game, you'll see a brand new character that no one ever saw.
Got it. So I'm playing here with keyboard and mouse, and let me get inside the number 2, the stage number 2.
Okay.
And on the stage number 2, I see like there is like the first user interface I have is this. It's kind of a print screen or a picture of the track, just part of it, right? And I have the name of the track. There's like 3 stars in the top, and I didn't get any, so I should have a better position to get more stars, right? That's
exactly. You need to
work.
You need to finish between. If you get first place, you get 3 stars. If you get second place, you get 2, and if you get third place, you get 1 star. And for fifth, you're out of stars.
I click
you,
to
you
play,
don't get any.
and then it shows me because I still like in the tutorial mode. So it's right in the beginning of the game, right? And then comes here, probably is the starter itself. It say, this is the racer selector screen. Tap here to select the adventure suit. And then you have like the cart itself. You can customize the cart.
You can change everything on it.
Got it. And then you have like, it's funny because the graphics, the approach on the graphics and the design, it's very, I would say, childish. But at the same time, there are so many details and so many things to change and to customize that's not that easy for kids, I guess. Like it's a mix, right in between. You can capture some audience because the look and feel that is very young, but at the same time, you have all these very, very incredible ways to play and customize your card. So now I'm right in the game. Oh, that's quite nice, though.
Yeah, and you have something that you have 3 types of gameplay that you can use, like joysticks that you can place on the camera, on the screen. So you can have fun in different ways. You have a simple, more simplified way with arrows that auto drift, or you can have a pro way that you can handle everything, like every single thing, like left and right, and how to drift and when to handle and how to release and how much you want to do with everything. So this is pretty much we try to tackle the both.
Got it. Yes,
parents
like
and,
you mentioned,
and kids.
The mechanics of the game itself, the race itself, it's very much inspired on Mario Kart. I can see that, but the logic on how to play is different.
It's completely different.
It's different. It's about there's like one thing on Mario Kart that I can say is like it's really hard to finish in the first place because there's so many things happening and so many other players playing somehow, no matter if it's the computer or if it's a person that is trying to put you back. But here it's pretty much like how much you want to go. If you wanna try to capture something more, or if you want to keep in the place you are, and for sure this is very the early stages, right at the beginning. So
no, but this is the basics of what we do. Again, sorry to be always talking about Starlit Adventures and not on Wheels, but Starlit Adventures, you can pace yourself. You can go with the flow and stop and look what's happening and understand what's going on, and then you make a choice and make your move. On Starlit on Wheels, you have pretty much the same idea that you can just race and ignore everything else and try to be the best racer there is, or you can try to interact with everything that you have on screen. Like you have coins all around. Why would you take any coin? But then whenever you leave the game, those coins you can buy something else. You can purchase a hat, or you can purchase something fun to your car. So if you think about start collecting the coins, maybe you can have some more fun somewhere else in the game. But if you want to just be a racer, you can be a racer. If you are a kid, you just want to play left and right and have fun,
Got
it's
it.
okay.
It's like you can expand, right? The things you are doing on the game. Like if you want to go
exactly.
and try something else, you can, but you can still have fun just by playing the race itself.
Yeah,
I got
that's
the
pretty much how it
mechanics.
works.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
now I still in the tutorial mode and it's explaining me. This is really nice. You know, I love games that when you play for the first time, it's kind of tell you how to play, so you don't miss any part of it. Like now I have to put my name. That's cool. Like you don't ask my name right in the beginning. You first give me
Yeah, and
to the
first you
game.
need to have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have fun first. That's something cool. Like what is the process behind that? Like to bring the fun first instead of what we see in the majority of games. You have to input a lot of information. Here, no, you go straight to the game, right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that we figured. As I mentioned, this game is out. It's been 1 year now, and a lot of things have changed. I can show you so, another time. I can show the difference that they used to be. It used to enter in a cutscene, and then we have a lot of text and a lot of things happening before you start playing, and then we figure, no, this is a game, and we like to start playing. That's why I downloaded this game. I downloaded this game to play and not to see anything else. So the first things first is have fun.
Have fun is the priority number one, right?
Yeah, priority number one is have fun. Do you get what's going on? You see what's happening? You know that there's a drift there. Once you figure that out, that you have more people playing with you and things like that, then we can start talking, start a proper conversation. Like, okay, it apparently you like what you saw. Now let me know who you are, and let's start talking deeply. Like, let me show you what you can do in this game. Let me show that you can change parts of your car. Let me show you that you have other things, like not only the story mode, but you'll go through the story mode like for 2 or 3, 4 levels before we say, well, we have this other area with championships that you're gonna compete with other people for best time trial and all that. So we go step by step, like very, very carefully, because we know that what matters most usually on mobile is like the first 45 seconds. And if you don't like the game in 45 seconds, you're not going to play this evermore. So it's important to have this well done in the very first 45 seconds.
Yeah, so the first 45 seconds, it's very, very important to you. That's what I got it.
It's killer. Yeah, it's like if you don't get the guy in the 45 seconds, if you don't have around 55% of the players go through this 45 seconds, you're done. Your game is already on the trash.
So people will leave it and they go to another game, or they don't play you anymore.
They won't come back. They just won't come back. Simple like that.
How do you balance that? Like how do you find the balance on how much I will give of information that cannot be too much, otherwise you're going to overload people with information, right? And they feel like stuffed of it. But at the same time, you have to teach them to play and give fun to them. Like you mentioned, fun in first place. But at the same time, if I start playing and I see the same thing all the time, I also get bored about it. So
yeah.
So how do you guys learn to balance that?
I'm not going to lie to you. It's a pain to do this kind of stuff, because we come with an idea of what we believe is the right thing, and then we put it on the market, make people play, and then we see the analytics, see if it's working, and if it's not, we sit all together and say, well, what's going on here? Why people aren't playing the level 3 or level 4 or level 5? Why they're not even getting there? Well, I see a barrier here, I see a barrier there. We start replaying the game and see where are the barriers, and we start cutting the barriers. That's how it works. And sometimes we figure that, well, with the structure that we have, it won't work. There's no way it's going to work, and we need to destroy everything and build from the ground up just of that part, and see if it works better. So sometimes we work for like 3 months in a very simple thing that will probably make people understand better what's happening. And again, what needs to work is this first first time play that you need to play for at least 5 minutes, and this should make sense for you. That's how it works.
Let me see if I got it, because while you are talking, I'm playing. And there is announcements also. That's funny, and you can spend money for sure. So I think I finished the first tutorial, part. Yeah. So now I'm able to go to the stage number 4. Like you mentioned something like you learn by doing, right? So you guys learn by doing. So you put like you believe this is the right path to take the user, the first time user of this game, to get attracted by the game, have fun in first place, and then how to evolve to next stage and don't get bored and still engaged with the game. And you mentioned something like, oh, we keep having information from the game. So I imagine you got this information from the Google servers, right? That's correct?
Yeah, we have an analytics. We always have an analytics that do a step-by-step of every game. The 3 of the games that we have, we don't know who's playing. We don't know that Marcelo is doing this, but we do know that the great majority of the people are playing till this level or are having a hard time winning this race, or the great majority get second place on level 5.
So you have some statistics, right? Some numbers that guide you.
Yeah, we have the statistics, and we need to understand how to read this and how to improve on top of this. And sometimes we just take a lucky guess. Like, well, I believe that if this is happening and we don't see a proper solution for that, the best option is just let's kill this, or let's change completely, or just maybe sometimes it's just a tweak. I still believe that On Wheels is a big black box that we are still trying to figure out a lot of things inside of it, different from the other 2 games that we already nailed it. But it took us 3 years to make sure that that was working.
3 years.
Usually.
So the other games like Starlit Adventures, you take 3
Adventures,
years refining the game logic, the game way of playing, the introduction, the path inside the game for the player. So then you feel like, now we are doing good. 3 years just like fine tuning.
Yeah, 3 years fine tuning. For example, on Adventures, which is a platformer, we have we call it a heat map. We have the whole level. We've showing the heat where people usually die. So we know when there's a lot of people dying in a very specific place, that place is a major problem. You can do puzzles that are complicated, that are a little bit difficult. But if a lot of people is dying there, it's because it's not obvious what they have to do. Or they don't see this coming or anything like that. So we need to figure out how this puzzle can be better created. So the people that are playing that look at, I know what to do this here, or how to handle this. I might die, but then it's my fault, not the game's fault.
Got it. So if they cannot figure out what is the next step, it's your fault. It's not their fault.
Yeah,
but at the same time, if you make it too easy, they say, "Oh, this game, there is no challenge for me."
Yeah, that's why we have the heat map, because we have sometimes a very, very hot area that a lot of people playing, but we have a lot of blue area that you see that there are some people dying there, which is okay. If you have a lot of blue areas, means that people are dying on those areas, but it's okay. This means that the puzzle is a little bit hard, and they need to die maybe once or twice to figure out. Now I know what's going on.
That's how it works, right?
Exactly. That's how it works.
Part of the process. If they die one or twice, and then in the third time they got it, you have this kind of info, so you can actually change it on the fly. I believe.
On the fly.
We change without the need to release another version of the app, so people don't need to update. But what are kind of things you can change on the fly without update the app itself?
For Starlit On Wheels, we can change the difficulty for every level. We can say who's gonna how hard it's gonna be, which of the other play. If you're playing against the AI, we can say, well, this AI we're gonna play on this level of difficulty or this level of difficulty. If there's a lot of people playing a specific level that is too hard, we can reduce it. We can change.
You can add items.
Yes, we can.
So on the fly, without update the app, you go like on the server settings, and you change how many items, where those items are placed, how easy or how hard it is to get them.
Yeah, we can change all the levels, for example, from story mode, if you want. Actually, we are doing this. We just hired a new a new level designer, and he's doing this from the first level till the 128th level, one by one, like figuring out how to do it better. And then we create packages that we upload to the server, and then the game downloads it and make a new level. So eventually this could happen that you played a level 3 that you thought that, oh, this is a cool level, or level 10, and then when you get back there, it looks a little bit different. That's because it was updated, and we are on this process. And we can change everything, because it's, at the end of the day, it's pretty much a big string of data that because every time that you create your own track, you can share your track. So to share your track, you can send a link, and this link has like I would say a big name that tell us everything that is that exists on this track.
But this is like mixing Mario Kart with Super Mario Maker, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, this is really cool, actually. I like the idea. I think it's pretty clever the way you guys realize that. And then I'm right now on the multiplayer area, where I can see a lot of those tracks built by the users, right?
Yeah, exactly. I believe that we are near to 100K right now of tracks built by users.
100,000 tracks built by users right now?
Yes.
How long the game is on the... It's
a year.
A year.
A year
1
now.
year. So it's like, it's more... Oh gosh, man. It's almost 10,000 tracks per month.
Yeah. It's a lot of a track. Because... And the fun part is that this is made by a very small part of the player base. So those that are creating tracks, they are creating a lot of tracks, and the great majority of the players don't even bother. But we knew that we were gonna tackle a very specific niche there, and a lot of people is having a lot of fun, and a lot of people is always asking for new items to use in game. Because now, why don't you have this kind of item that floats around, that chases you? Or
you collect feedback from the users?
Yeah, we do. We have a
How is this process? So you go for Discord, okay?
Yeah, we have a Discord.
So I have a question for you. If I go to the Google Gameplay Store, like many does, right?
Yeah.
And then I get there and I say, oh, I don't like this on the game, on the comments, right? Like a review.
Yes, we have a person.
Is that that for real influence the developers or not?
Yes. Yeah. So if you say that, if any one of you that is watching this, you write anything on Google Play or the App Store and say, well, I didn't like that, or I love your game, or I saw Chips on this interview and he said that if I write anything here, you would answer me. Yeah, that's true. There's someone looking at this, and
probably will do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also say you came from the Gamer Changer, okay?
Yeah, exactly. Say and
but that's very cool.
Have a problem?
No, it's fine. Like, what I'm saying is, like, this is really cool. Like, now I'm playing a track that someone did it, and it's completely different from the story mode, because I can see like how crazy it is. There is a track. It's super fun, actually, because I can notice there is a lot of freedom to develop this track.
Yeah, and we have a lot of insane builders, like some guys that do a lot of interesting things and different things.
Gosh, I did something really bad.
And the fun part is that you can watch the replay of every player that played on this track that you're playing. And everyone that does creates a track, he needs to do the first run. So we record it. So every track that is built, pretty much someone already tested to see if it works and if you can go from the very start to the very finish of the game. So that's how it works.
Even so cool. Like I can see how we can get addicted to that. Imagine I'm playing on the keyboard and mouse here, but I can see it's very, very easy to play on the screen with your fingers. Like, it's funny. That's another thing that I'd like to ask you. Like, you developed the game for touch, right?
Yeah,
but
we did.
Somehow the Android also has this compatibility with the keyboard and mouse. Do you guys also test in different kinds of inputs like joysticks, keyboard and mouse for the same platform, which is smartphones? I think smartphone is the hardest to develop, right? Because we have so many options.
One of the programmers that we have usually tests on a Xbox joystick.
Really?
Yeah, that's how that's the way that he likes to test, because he usually make tests with the AI, so he feels that he can control everything even a little bit better with the joystick. Our level designer usually tests things on mouse and keyboard, and the BI guy usually tests the game on the device itself. And we still have me, for example, testing on ROG Phone 2 with the Joy-Cons, so the kunais. So that's everyone tests in a different way. And
so I can imagine, like, how many. Oh my god! Like, once I was talking to you about this very funny thing, right? Because we start to develop the ROG Phone 2, and then I bring to you, and you super fast kind of create a lot of stuff over ROG Phone 2, right? And we know, like, in the background, you guys are using the Unit engine, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And we put it together, Unit engine. Now we are working with those guys. They also are teaching our people how to make more open for Unit, how be more compatible Unit, to make things work better. But one thing, like, I noticed, like, when we are working together, is like that you have those devices from the other manufacturers, right? Like from Sony, from Nintendo, from Microsoft, and those devices are for developers, right? When do you usually kits. The dev kits? So you receive those dev kits how much in advance to create your game and be ready for the console launch?
Wow,
how this works?
That's a good question. That's a great question. Usually, every company have a different way to tackle this. With Microsoft, for example, it's pretty straightforward. You say, well, I have this game and I need to do this, and you just go for it. You can get this in a couple of weeks, maybe. But from getting the dev kit and then setting up and making everything happen, usually it takes a while. I would say 1 month, a couple of months, and then once you have the game ready, doesn't matter how long it takes, then you're gonna have a couple of months or 3 months to handle this, to put on the store. I know this wasn't exactly the question that you asked, but I'm giving the whole picture.
It's okay. It's good to understand that, because that's something people don't know, right? Like how this works. So there's no standard way to work. It's like it's case by case, company by company. They have their own policies, their own rules, and somehow you have to adapt to those rules. I can imagine how hard it can be, right? Some of them can be really, really picky to give you something in advance, and some of them can be easier. But how much of that is just relationship you develop, or how much of that is like just because the game is becoming a success? How this works, like?
Yeah, if you have a big hit, you can have a lot of things special made, tailor-made for you. For example, Nintendo doesn't like free-to-play games at all. Really?
Yeah, I know. I can see.
Fortnite works pretty well. They have everything that they want, the way they want. If they want have a marketing or a trailer or anything, doesn't matter. Just go for it. For a smaller studio, if you're indie, you're probably gonna have to go with a premium game, and depending on where you were when you are, where you are in the world, it's very unlikely that you even get the dev kit. You need to know someone and know how things are handled and know how everything works, so you can make. For me, it took me a year to have the Nintendo dev kit, and it was really hard. The easiest one for me, it was the PS4 dev kit, because I know the guys there. It's been almost 15 years now, so that's why. That's the only reason why. If you're a dev and you don't know anyone, it's very unlikely that you'll get something from Sony. You don't have anywhere that you can send an email and say, well, I'm a developer, and I want to...
You need to know them.
You need to know them,
people.
like really, really know the right person. There is one guy in your area that will solve your problem. If you don't know this guy, you're not going to make it at all. You have no chance. If you're on Xbox, that's the easiest one. Usually, if you go to E3 or any sort of event like this, or GDC, for example, the Game Developers Conference,
so you can talk to
someone. Yeah,
you can talk to them, get in contact, say, hey, I'm a game developer. I want to develop.
They'll give you a card and say, well, send an email for this. And Microsoft is a really funny company because everything is done by email. Like, this is the way they handle things. Like, well, you have a website there.
I can imagine why.
But I have so many stories about this. Like, well, I'm trying to enable this feature. I'm trying to click on the website and it's not enabled. Well, send an email to this guy. I've just sent an email.
Everything by
it's enabled. Now you can click on that. Okay. Now it's working.
I can imagine. That's very much like a corporate PC-based company, right? Like, everything has to be done by mail. So there's no other form of contact and communicate.
Content, just do by mail. Okay, we have like 110 emails, different emails that a very specific thing, you need to send an email for someone. Well, we have an event at Microsoft, then we'll talk about E3 and any other sort of email, any other sort of event that happens worldwide. Well, we have a support dash something that for a very specific thing on that topic. So I think it's very funny. Everybody, obviously, we usually contact by mail, but Microsoft is a case very, very specific. Nintendo is a very closed thing. Like, you need to do A, B, C, D, and then you do have like check boxes that you need to go through.
Very Japanese,
and then you get
right?
Very Japanese, like very straightforward and
organized. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Exactly. When you send your game, they will check the game, and then they give you a report, and they will uncheck everything that you just done because you didn't pass, and then you need to go 1, 2, 3, 4, all straight for all over again. So it's okay. That's how it works.
Would you say not the hardest, but probably the most demanding one is Nintendo? For developing a game for their platform.
Yeah, probably Nintendo is the for me it's been the most complicated one. For other guys, the other developers that I know, usually everyone tells me that the easiest one is Microsoft and the most complicated is Nintendo, and Sony is the middle ground. In my case, Sony was the easiest one, but again, it's because I know the guys,
you know the people, right?
And then things get easier. And it's so different from having this on PC or Android and iOS, because
it's more like a free area, right?
Yeah, if you're doing something for Android, it's like you build. We can have an idea right now. I can code something and we can upload this today, and it will air today. So the difference is like huge. If you go for
I got it first.
Yes. If you go for Apple, for example, it's completely different. It used to be way more complicated back in 2008 and 9 when I started with this, but nowadays it's like easier, but not 15, 20 days, but it's still like 2, 3 days to make it happen. And again, on console, we are always talking about 3, 4 months of anything. If you have the game ready, we are talking 3, 4 months.
Well, Chips,
Yes.
I love to have you here. We are talking for almost an hour already.
Really?
You're kidding
me.
It's fly, man. This thing flies. Wow. Yeah, it's super fast. Like, hey, before we finish this, like, I love the game. Like, I tell you, like, I play a little bit before for the ROG launch. I got the idea, but now I play more deeper in this time, and I love it, and I can see how the game can be a success because you guys are putting a lot of efforts to give several options, not only on you have, like, for sure you have like the story mode that is nice. I love story modes. I love the feeling of one player, like one.
So do I.
One player playing and enjoy by your own. But I also love the idea that in the same set of things and the same logic on the game, I can apply that for the multiplayer, and then I have the option, even if I want, to get deep on that and build my own tracks and share with others and play the others.
Yeah.
This is really nice.
You can make your own thing in that. I see a lot of YouTubers doing their own championships, which is really cool. He creates a track and say, well, whoever gets in first till tomorrow morning will get a prize or something like that. So there's so many different things that you can do.
Let people
on this
create,
kind of environment.
Right?
Yeah,
let them create.
That's something that I really like. It's really, really hard to do. Give a tool like this to the player. You guys have no idea how hard it is. I always my head's out for everyone that do something like this, like Mario Maker or any sort of game that you can make your own things. It's really, really hard, but it's something that worked in a way for us, and I'm really proud of what we have.
Before we finish, I have one question that I do for everyone that comes here. That's hard. Actually, it's actually one question of two. Like, what is the game from your childhood that you carries your mind until today? And what is the game right now that you are playing a lot and enjoy?
For me, it's hard to say that. It's pretty obvious. Always the answer is it's always Legend of Zelda.
Legend of Zelda. I love Zelda, man. I love Zelda.
It's my game. I played all of them from the very beginning. The first, I didn't. It's not true. I didn't play that crappy game that is side scroller and
yeah, that's what I gotta ask. Like, if you played that one, because that one I play a little. Say that sucks, man. That's not Zelda.
This game was really bad, but
you know what I found really, really funny now on Super Mario Maker, you have an option to have Link.
Wow.
Inside Super Mario Maker, and that reminds a little bit the side-scrolling version, but it's even funnier and more entertaining.
I could totally play with Link then. I really like. I believe that I started by A Link to the Past, and then I move back and forth. I really enjoyed playing Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah,
that was really different. I like a lot of Twilight Princess. I like a lot of Skyward Sword. The Link to the Past was the first one that I played, but maybe I was too young to get the game, and it was everything in English, and I didn't know a word in English.
But that's something we used to have in Brazil. We receive games in English, and sometimes, because they are cheaper, even games in Japanese.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you don't understand English or you don't understand Japanese, doesn't matter. You just guess. And we play Zelda in the hardest mode possible because you have to guess what should be done.
Exactly.
We didn't know. There's no tips. There's no advices from anyone on the game. We have to figure out. So we keep trying, going back and forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's how it used to be, and that's probably why I liked a lot playing Ocarina of Time. That I already had some English to enjoy it, and then when with Skyward Sword, I don't know why I really liked the idea of the game and understanding and having. And 25 years later, all of that, it was really good. So
Which of the Zeldas you like
I
most?
don't know.
Oh,
I
come
really
on!
don't know. It's it's
I
it's,
can tell you
it's
right
not.
away. Breath of the Wild kind of hit me big time, man.
I
I
was
didn't.
about to say that.
I, I didn't expect that a game like that at this time, after playing so many Zeldas and like so much of everything, I didn't expect they could do something like that.
I played a lot of Breath of the Wild. I really liked my time there, but it's weird. I don't feel like being the one that I connect the most. Maybe it's because of life and work and all of that that I didn't allow myself to be so engaged on the game. Maybe I still would take Ocarina of Time as the one that I enjoyed the most. Um,
It's the
don't know
best for
why.
you,
Yeah,
right?
for me, not necessarily. I know that that game isn't the best one that was made technically and all of that, but it's the one that I like the most, that I enjoyed my time playing. And nowadays, what I do, if you check on PS4, every time that you log in, you'll see that I played a couple hours or 1 hour or a few minutes of Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo is the thing that I like the
So
most.
you like the racing games as well.
Yeah, I like the racing game, and I like the simulation. That's the I don't like Need for Speed. I don't like Burnout. I don't like any of this kind of game. I'm not a big fan of Mario Kart. I'm not gonna lie to you. I like the simulation.
Got
I
it.
like to go to I've already raced with some formulas in Interlagos. I've already raced. I did go karting in a lot of places
Really?
around the world. Yeah,
That's
I
cool.
did. Yeah, so that's my thing. That's something that I really like to do.
Man, it was a big time, big pleasure to have you here with me in the
My
second
pleasure.
player two.
Definitely my pleasure.
And
I'm
tell
still
people
shaken to
tell
be talking to
people
you.
where they can find you, how to find you to play. You have social networks. That's your
Sure.
time. Give your word.
You can find me everywhere as Rodrigo Chips. You can just slash Rodrigo Chips at Rodrigo Chips. You'll find me. LinkedIn, Facebook, name it, I'll be there, and the same name. And I can also have a YouTube channel that it will be all in Portuguese. So well, not all in Portuguese. Actually,
Mostly.
usually when I do any interview, I usually put there as a small set of this, and then I link to the proper interview. So you'll find something in English
I gotta
there too.
put everything here on the description so you
Yes.
guys can find him and can find all his content. Rodrigo,
Yeah,
thank
sure.
you very much, my friend.
I think I should say something else very
Sure,
important.
sure, just say it.
It's very important to follow to at Starlit Adventures on Instagram and on
True.
YouTube and everywhere. You go for Starlit Adventures because it was the first game, and then we decided that we wouldn't do Starlit Archery Club and on Wheels, so it's all mixed up in the same channel, and you'll find everything that you want and everything that you need. Even me playing there, some gameplays, and every gameplay that you find there probably is going to be me beta testing and showcasing.
Well, that's cool.
But
That's cool. So I'll also be here, so you can find those games here and this channel that shows all the gameplay. That's amazing. Rodrigo, something else?
no, that's it.
That's
Thank you
all?
so much for having me. That's all.
I'm the one to thank you. Thank you, man. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Okay. So that was Rodrigo from Rockhead and the Starlit series. I play a lot of Starlit on the wheels here, and it was amazing. I love the game. I guess you also love to know all those details of the industry, how things works from the behind the scenes, and all those interesting things, right? That's why we do Player 2. I'd like to thank you for coming at this point. It's an hour already of streaming, and see you in the next Player 2 here in the Gamer Changer. See you, folks.